In the heart of the waves, the sea voyage began peacefully. The golden sun danced on the water's surface, and the king's magnificent ship sailed forward like a floating palace. Among the crew was a young servant who had never traveled over vast waters before. From the moment his feet touched the ship's wooden deck, anxiety gripped his heart. A gentle breeze brushed against his face, but for him, nothing about the sea was gentle. It seemed cruel and endless, an abyss with no visible end. The servant couldn't calm himself, his heart trembled, his hands were clammy, and his gaze kept returning to the ship's edge where a thin line separated life from the terrifying unknown. The laughter of the courtiers and sailors echoed around him, yet none of it was enough to ease his fear. His trembling and cries, like a small storm disturbing the peace, eventually caught the king's attention. Frowning, the king glanced at the servant and said, "What is this commotion? Why can't you be calm?" But no order from the king, nor any soothing words, could quiet the servant. Then, an elderly sage, seated in a corner, slowly rose. His eyes were deep like the sea, holding secrets within them. Speaking in a calm tone, he said, "Allow me to cure him." The king nodded. The sage walked toward the servant, placed his hand on his shoulder, and said, "My son, do you fear the sea?" With a trembling voice, the servant replied, "Yes. I will drown, I will perish." The sage smiled, paused briefly, then suddenly grabbed the servant and threw him into the sea. Gasps and cries of shock filled the air. The servant plunged into the water, suddenly surrounded by everything he feared: coldness, depth, the relentless pull of the ocean dragging him downward. He struggled, flailed, grasped at the water, but the waves did not let him go. His eyes widened, his breath shortened until hands pulled him up and lifted him back onto the ship. Gasping for air, the servant clung to the wooden deck. There was no more screaming, no more trembling. Suddenly, he realized the true value of the ship, the sanctuary it provided. The king, astonished, turned to the sage and asked, "Why did you do that?" The sage smiled and said, "Until this servant had tasted the fear of drowning, he could not understand the peace of safety. Sometimes, without hardship, one cannot truly appreciate security." The king pondered these words. The servant, now calm, clung to the ship's planks and gazed at the sea, this time, not with fear, but with respect.